Welcome to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Marvelous Monday, February 18th.
We're just going to alliterate every day, aren't we?
That's right. Terrific
Plain old
Tuesday.
Friday. Terrific Tuesday.
Just wait till
Monday.
Wednesday. I'm alliteration Andy. What can you say?
Oh, man.
It is Monday, and two really, really neat events coming up in the near future, both at high schools.
I know. Shout out to those high schools.
Around the country, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Getting our Texas people in on the fun.
And Concordia, Missouri.
Yeah.
Traveling all over.
Which
and
apparently you find St. Paul grads wherever you go.
This
That's
is
what I've
so
heard.
true.
Yeah.
A couple here in the building.
Yeah.
And parents
My husband.
And parents of St. Paul students here in the building, too.
Yeah.
Thank you to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour as well. cuw.edu is the website to find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin, and how they can help you live uncommon. Do you like singing?
Yeah.
I knew you did. Yeah.
Do you have to ask?
Me too. And when did you start singing?
Oh, man. Preschool? Baby? I don't know. In the womb?
When did you start singing in choirs?
First or second grade. Or kindergarten. Might have been preschool. At Lutheran school. You just it's just a thing.
I went to public school. We had choirs in elementary school. I think I was in choirs primarily starting around like first or second grade, choraliers.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on what you count as a choir.
Well,
our grades sang together, if that counts. Organized choir
maybe
might have been a little
talk
later.
To the expert and define that. Joining us by phone this morning, Dr. Jerrode Baker Marsh. She's director of music at St. Paul Lutheran High School in Concordia, Missouri. Dr. Marsh, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for asking.
Tell us about, before we get into stories, what makes a choir? What defines a choir?
Deep question.
Well, I think a choir is a group of people who comes together to sing and have kind of a single focus on making something really beautiful and maybe more than what we would just singing together in corporate worship or together as a class or after a sporting event or something like that. We come together to hone very specific music skills and to create something a little bit more special and beautiful.
So share with us a story of how a choir, choral singing, has made a significant difference, either in your life or in the life of a student. How has choral music made a difference?
Well, wow, I have so many stories. I can think of several. I think there are just such incredible benefits to singing in a choir. A choir is something that people can join for so many different purposes, and so they take those purposes that they've discovered there, and then they can go out into life. I had a student in one of my children's choirs when I was living in Germany that she was a missionary kid, and she was about 12 or 13, and she moved back to the U.S. unexpectedly. And when she went through confirmation several years after that, her mother sent me the video of her confirmation statement, and she had commented in that when she was singing in my choir in Germany, she said, Dr. Marsh told me to always just keep singing because I can hang on to my faith with the songs that we're singing, and I can find new friends, and that really shaped her life, those experiences that she had. It really warmed my heart because it was important for me to hear later that, when she stepped into a country where she didn't know anybody and had never lived before, those experiences and memories that she had from singing in a choir together really helped her find the encouragement and other things in her life that helped her, make that adjustment. So for a 12 or 13-year-old girl, that's pretty big. But in other cases, I had a woman who was a complete atheist join my choir in Frankfurt as well, and she was concerned because it was a church choir. She said, I'm not a believer. Is it okay if I join? And I said, absolutely. You can come and sing with us. And over the course of about 2 years, she sang with us, and she started coming. And, I assured her we only sing sacred music. She said, oh, that's fine. And over the course of going on retreats and coming to different services, and just the experience of always praying before rehearsals. About 2 years after that, she came to me and she said, I've been doing this, and I think I want to be baptized. And my heart just burst open with joy. And I said, well, we need to talk to the pastor. So we talked to him, and they went through some more discussions. And then, of course, it was a huge celebration. The choir absolutely sang at her baptism service, and she is to this day a very active member of this congregation where I worked. And stories like that just remind me of how music brings people together. If there hadn't been a choir, she probably would have never set foot through the doors, because there wasn't any other reason for her as an atheist to come to the church. And I really don't know how she discovered the church to this day, but God knew, what he had in mind for her. So that's a really exciting story for me that I love to share about the power of music and the power of the words in that setting.
Yeah. Thanks be to God for that. That is that's an incredible story.
That's an incredible story. Yeah. Yep. And this was a German woman who had grown up in the former Eastern Bloc, in communism part of the world, and so it was all very, very foreign to her, this whole concept of Christianity and love and that Christ had died for her, and everything that we sing, especially in church choirs, just underscores that.
Yeah. Yeah, it points to how important it is for us to be singing the rich choral music that comes out of our tradition. You touched on this a little bit in your first little story, but what are some of the benefits of choral singing, especially for the preteen, 5th to 8th grade age students?
Well, I think first of all, you're introducing them at that age, especially to the joy and the beauty of music. You're connecting words to sounds. That's something that really children start to discover early on, but on another level when they enter sort of those preteen years. They can understand the sensation and the beauty of singing in parts, for example. And that's something that's harder to do with very young children. You're just trying to expose them to singing and singing praises to God and getting them to match pitch, for example, when that's more challenging. When they're older, I think that beauty and connection to sound is very, very important. And then that leads then to a lot of social benefits. They get to make friends. They're doing this together. They share performance experiences. They share experiences singing together in worship. It's really teamwork. They're working together for a common purpose. And there are a lot of, I think, important social benefits, especially for that age where kids are sort of starting to figure out who they are, and the way they think is changing, and they're starting to recognize outside influences that they might not have been affected with when they were younger. But certainly, 10, 12, 13 years old, that's starting to become much more common, and they're aware of that. So, but I think then with kids who are really interested in singing, the focus and the discipline, this is something that I see a lot. These kids learn how to focus on a common purpose, a common goal, and that kind of focus and discipline to where they have to figure out how to get it right, and we do things again and again and again, and they discover new things in the music. That carries over academically. It carries over to how they learn to be good listeners. It carries over to just a lot of things in life. They're learning life skills by singing in a choir. And just yesterday, I was actually reading, a colleague sent me a list of how students who are involved in ensembles, and especially the all-state ensembles, their average SAT and ACT scores are significantly higher than your average state SAT scores. And I thought that was interesting, because it's not just that smart kids are in ensembles. It's that they're learning skills in ensembles that are bleeding into other areas of their academics and of their social life and how they're adjusted and things like that. So I think those are really critical benefits that I wish people would recognize more because music is being cut in schools a lot. So.
Lots of great benefits especially for those for middle school students. And so let's get them singing now. And we're going to do that. You have the Sing at St. Paul Youth Choral Workshop coming up in March. Right. Tell us, we have just about 2 minutes. Tell us about that and how we can get our 5th through 8th graders signed up for that.
Yes, this is something that I started when I came, and we call it Sing at St. Paul, and it's a whole day-long workshop of singing at our school on campus. We're a boarding school, so we have a lot of facilities here. They come, they learn about 5 or 6 pieces, and I usually have 3 or 4 of my high school students come in as mentors, and we learn these songs, and at the end of the day, we do a performance for the parents, and it gets them kind of discovering the joy of singing. They meet new friends because we have students from all over. We usually have students from quite a few different states. This year it's held on Saturday, March 30th, and we start at 9 o'clock with registration, and then there's a musical performance at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have some breaks. They get lunch. They get a T-shirt. It's just a really fun experience. I had one student leave last year. They said, "Can I come back as a mentor next year?" She'd been in it for 3 years in a row, and she's in another state. So, and it's $25 for the registration fee. That includes the T-shirt and the music and help paying for the accompanist and the lunch and the snacks and things like that as well.
And how do we register for this event?
You can go online to www.splhs.org. That is our school website, and you can look under registration forms for that. You can also email me at jmarsh@splhs.org, or you can call me. There are registration forms online. They're also on Facebook, on our Facebook page, on our school webpage. I can give you my phone that
Sure,
they can contact me at. It's 816-605-5173, and you can leave a message. If I'm teaching, obviously, I'll just return your call. But we have a really fun time, and the kids always seem to enjoy it. I'm excited because it gets kids singing, and it gets kids also introduced to our high school, which is a Lutheran high school. We're the only Lutheran boarding school left, actually, in the country, and like you mentioned, a lot of people seem to be connected to the school here, so it's a fun way to reconnect and bring parents back too.
And even if you're not from the area and want to make a weekend out of it, you can get accommodations there as well. Is that right?
You can. We have a conference center here on campus, and those extra accommodations would cost a little bit more, but it's very, very reasonable. And we've had people come down from Minnesota and Illinois and places like that. A lot of times they will sort of make a weekend of it. It's fun for the kids to get away and to be on campus. And so we really encourage that because they get to meet people from all over the state.
Dr. Jerrode Baker Marsh, Director of Music, St. Paul Lutheran High School, Concordia, Missouri, about the upcoming Sing at St. Paul Youth Choral Workshop coming up March 30th. Now, you want to register by March 18th to get that early bird pricing. So SPLHS.org is the website. Dr. Marsh, thanks so much for being our guest this morning on the Coffee Hour.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Coming up next, now that we've been singing for a little bit, let's
go write a little bit.
Yeah, let's meet some writers.
Yeah.
Some writers in Texas. You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Eddie Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.